Their dog killed my dog, so I killed theirs. So I had just gotten a puppy. It was a small Pomeranian. It was white and it was the cutest thing ever. Me and her immediately bonded. Her name was Miffy. I thought it was adorable and perfect for her. One day, I went on my walk like I usually did, and I saw this blue-nosed pit bull walking towards us. I thought it was friendly, so I smiled. Miffy walked towards it and barked once, like a friendly bark, because Miffy was a friendly good dog. Then I blinked, and the next thing you know, the dog had its teeth around its neck. I tried to separate the dog from my dog, but it wouldn't let go. My dog was screaming in pain so loud that it hurt my ears. I started screaming for help, yelling for somebody to get their dog. A kid came by and commanded the dog to let go. And it did. Miffy was so weak, her eyes were watery, and she was barely breathing. I started crying and ran back home. I told my mom what happened, and she immediately drove us to the vet, begging for services. They took her in and examined her in a separate room. Me and my mom started arguing. She asked me what I was doing the entire time, and I told her I had my eyes on Miffy. Then we stopped arguing as the doctor came in. The doctor gave us our results, and you will not believe what happened next. Come back for part 2. So the doctors came back in and told us that she was in pain and dying slowly, and that it would be best to put her down. I started breaking down. I only had her for a month, but I was so in love with her. She was practically like my child. So I went into the other room, said my goodbyes, and they put her down. I held a mini funeral for her and everything. My mom asked me if I wanted to sue them, but I told her I had a better idea. So I decided to befriend the dog owner and give it a taste of my karma. So I made cookies for the boy. They were shaped like Miffy, and I gave them to him. I said this was a peace offering and said I was okay and that I forgave him. We were 12 at the time, so obviously he was going to be gullible. I befriended him and we became close over time. We liked a lot of the same things and we had a lot in common. We also had a compatible zodiac signs. I was a Pisces and he was a Cancer. I'm not gonna lie, I began to feel bad and I thought maybe I shouldn't do this, but I wanted justice for Miffy. So one day I was walking down the block by myself and I saw his dog. This was my chance. I held out a treat and lured the dog into my bedroom. And I started making the secret recipe for revenge. You will not believe what happened next. Come back for part 3. So I was going on my usual walk and I ended up seeing his dog. So this was finally my perfect chance. I took out a treat from my pocket and I lured him into my house. My mom and dad weren't home, so this was the perfect time for my plan. I ended up leading the dog all the way upstairs to my bedroom, gave him a treat, and locked him in the bedroom. And I ended up making my little concoction in the kitchen. I mixed together chocolate, rat poisoning, cleaner, and more dog treats. I ended up putting it in a little bowl. I brought it up to my bedroom, put it in front of him, and locked the bedroom door. After that, I went to the living room and I watched TV for an hour. I felt really bad for what I did, but I had a revenge mentality and wanted to avenge Miffy. So after that, I went up to my bedroom and ended up puking and crapping everywhere. So I cleaned that up, put some gloves on, put the dog in a trash bag, and left it in his backyard. The next day, I ended up calling the dog owner. And I asked him if he wanted to hang out since we were friends now. He said no. I asked him why. He said he went through stuff. And I said okay. We are still friends to this day and he doesn't know it was me. Follow for more story times.
Story time. My boyfriend wouldn't let me break up with him, so I cheated on him with his best friend. So we're gonna call my boyfriend Jay and his best friend Mike. Well, I met these two boys through my best friend, and I really liked Mike. Mike and I would talk all the time. We would FaceTime 24/7, but whenever the subject of dating came up, he said that he couldn't because his best friend really liked me. So he was trying to set me up with Jay, but not really because he really liked me. So I was like, okay, fine, whatever. I'll date Jay for a little bit and then I'll break up with him. Worst mistake of my fucking life. Every time I would try to break up with this kid, he would be like, I'm gonna kill myself now. And he would send me videos with him holding up a knife to his neck, cutting his arms whenever I would say we're breaking up. So pretty much I was forced into that relationship. He was manipulative as fuck. It was just not a good situation. Well, the one day Jay was like, oh, do you want to come over Mike's house with me? And of course I said yeah, because I literally was still in love with Mike, his best friend. And my parents were super strict, so I had to sneak over there, like for part 2. Part 2 of how my boyfriend wouldn't let me break up with him, so I cheated on him with his best friend. For the new people, Mike is the best friend and Jay is the guy who I was dating. Anyway, so we get to Mike's house, right? And we're all hanging out and I was giving Mike a little bit more attention than I was giving Jay. Because obviously I wasn't interested in Jay. So Jay decided to act like he was pissed off at me, right? And he walks out of the house, right? To see if I would chase after him. Like, obviously I'm not going to. So Mike and I are sitting there watching him walk down the street because he said he was going home. So Mike and I were sitting on the couch and we started making out. And then we heard the fucking front door open. And Jay's like, I can't believe you didn't come and talk to me after that, blah, blah, blah. What is this relationship? So then Mike steps in and he's like, yo, you need to drop her. She just tried to make out with me, blah, blah, blah. And I sat there and I was like, yeah, it's true. So Jay starts bawling his eyes out and goes to the fucking kitchen to grab a knife. So after that, Mike called the cops on him and Mike and I are finally dating now.
One day my older sister was crying very loud in her room and I was concerned. I walked in and asked her what was wrong. She had just received news that her boyfriend cheated on her while he was out of town. So being the good little sister I am, I wanted revenge on her cheating ass now ex-boyfriend. We had a plan to sneak into his house and replace his shampoo with Nair hair removal cream. It was risky but we were willing to do anything for revenge. We called his mom and told him he cheated on her and she was disappointed in him. We told her we wanted revenge and the mom was all for it. My older sister drove me to his house when he was gone and his mom was there. She let us in the house and we dumped out his shampoo and conditioner bottles and replaced both bottles with the hair removal cream and left. Later that night his mom sent us a video of my sister's ex-boyfriend running out of the bathroom screaming and crying naked because all his hair had fallen out after his shower and his head was burning, and my sister and I laughed our asses off, and I laughed so hard I peed my fucking pants. Never mess with our family, period. Haha hash fuck you Dylan for cheating on my sister.